The White Lotus, or the Caucasian Lotus, as I call it, is about ultra-rich people going to exotic locations. But there's a conversation from the latest episode that a lot of Americans can relate to these days. Take a look.
Wait, are you a Republican?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm an independent. But Dave is.
An independent?
Mm-hmm.
Since when? You didn't vote for Trump, though, did you?
Are we really going to talk about Trump tonight?
Okay, first off, these women, if you watch, are not actually friends. They don't know anything about each other's lives. They're kind of passive-aggressive throughout.
Kind of. They're aggressive-aggressive.
It's not nice. But also, I always talk about, my friends are very equally split. My best friend's a Democrat, but in our immediate group, we have people who voted for Trump. If you know people to their core, you know their values, and you know why they decided, you can respect them and coexist with them supporting somebody that you didn't. This is just clearly like they're not even talking to her about who she is, like how she likes to live her life. I find it bizarre.
I could be friends with a Trump supporter. I won't give them a kidney, but I could be friends with them.
See,
I mean, the thing about it is it's not just about politics. It's about morality, ethics. It's about cruelty. It's about discrimination. It's about a lot of things. So those are personal human values. We're not really just talking about fiscal conservative who pays more taxes. We're talking about you as a human being. So it's hard to be friends with someone who signs on to something like that. On the other hand, they're open to discussion. I like to talk to them, find out what exactly do you know about this guy.
Yeah, I agree with that because I think, you know, we're in abnormal times. This is not the Republican Party of yesterday. This is sort of the Trump. I think it's the Trumplican Party in many respects. It's so extreme. And if someone is supporting or voting for someone who is hurting members of my family, members of my community, our elderly, our children, gutting our government, firing people, I do have a hard time being friends with that person. But what I will say about the show, because I love White Lotus, this is its third season, these are friends that used to be very, very close, and they now have grown apart. One is living in Austin, Texas. That's the Trumper. The Trump voter. There's another one who's a New York lawyer, and there's another one that lives in Los Angeles who's an actor. So they are now getting back together and realizing that their friendship has changed, and that does happen.
But I think that also growing up where I grew up, it's very common to know people that vote differently. I went from Midwest conservative life to super liberal East Coast life, and I also know that Joy, when you mention, like, how could anyone vote for that? When you go into their bubbles and you see the coverage they're watching and their families and their churches, they're not voting on this awful human being that you're seeing over here. They're voting on the way it's captured with their own beliefs. I tend to show what you said is more curiosity, because if I share the values, which I love people that did vote for him, and I love them, that part is more important to me. So I'm more curious as to why you made that decision and getting to that understanding.
Yeah, I think that you can talk to people because they're getting their information from
very different
sources.
silos.
Yeah, I know. And I think that basic people are good. I do. I believe Americans are basically good people and have empathy for, you know. Like right now, didn't we just read something about how he doesn't want Ukrainians who have citizenship to retain that? I think that that's something that people can relate to and say, you know, I feel bad for these people. No matter how you vote, empathy is, again, a human emotion. And if you don't have it, you really need to see a shrink.
And there are crappy people of every political ilk.
You need to see a therapist.
As I've been saying, this is not a new feel. When I grew up, the Grand Wizard of the KKK was in office. You know, he was a congressman. We had senators. So this is not this is not unusual. These folks have always been here. All those, the racists, the misogynists, they've always been here. You know, and so what we have to always do, regardless of who you voted for, you still got to pay your rent, you still got to take care of your kids, you still got to take care of your business. And maybe some of what's happening, like, you know, they're trying to take apart the Department of Education. Maybe that is a good thing, because maybe it will force us to make sure that our kids actually get what they need. Maybe it'll force us to go to our state and say, listen, I want to make sure, since you're taking all this money from my taxes, I want to make sure that my kids get exactly what they need. I don't have to wait for the government to do it. We can do it. This is now in our hands. This is in our hands, and it's going to be tough, and nobody wants to do it because it's a bitch. But you know what? If it comes down to your survival, this is what you got to do. You got to take care of what you got to take care of.